You know, usually when you get a diagnosis, like whether it's medical or financial or even mechanical, you expect this certain brutal precision.
Right, yeah, like the
Like,
straightforward answer.
exactly. You look at an x-ray, you see that jagged white line where the bone snapped, and the doctor just points right to it.
Yep.
Broken, binary, clean. And we love that, don't we? I mean, we crave things that can be just, categorized and neatly put into little boxes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Because certainty is safe.
right.
Human psychology is fundamentally wired to avoid ambiguity. We really just like to know exactly where the boundaries are.
We do. But then you step into the world of cosmic weather.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
It really is. You wade into these deep churning waters of planetary transits, and suddenly that x-ray machine is completely useless.
Totally useless.
We're looking at an astrological landscape that is, honestly, it's shifting right beneath our feet. So, welcome to our visual deep dive on the Cosmic Wire.
So glad to be here.
I am thrilled you're here with us today, too, because we are basically taking a sledgehammer to the idea of a simple binary forecast.
We really are.
We're giving you the ultimate comprehensive sign-by-sign survival guide for what is shaping up to be a truly pivotal week for you. And we're talking about July 6th through the 12th, 2026.
It is, it's the absolute definition of diagnostic muddy waters.
Muddy waters.
But that doesn't mean we are flying blind here.
Yeah.
With the right tools and the right analytical framework, we can see exactly what's moving beneath the surface.
And we've brought the absolute best tools to the table for you today. I mean, we've taken this massive stack of astrological reports, technical ephemeris, and these really deep horoscopes.
Mountains of data.
Literally, we pulled from heavy hitters like Chronogram, Moon Omens, Bustle, Your Tango, Economic Times, Gracia, Big Sky Astrology, you name it, we looked at it.
We really did.
And we synthesized all this raw data into one clear, fast-paced map specifically tailored for you listening right now in the U.S. trying to navigate these wild stars.
And I have to say, the sheer volume of data this week is just staggering.
It's a lot, right?
It's so much. Just to give you an idea of the scope, we are looking at outer planet movements that literally define entire generations.
Wow.
Yeah, and they are colliding with very fast, highly personal interplanet retrogrades. So it's this fascinating study in macro and micro forces happening like simultaneously.
Okay, well, before we jump into the macro weather, I have to give you the big reveal, the headline of the week.
Ah, yes. Let's hear it.
We ran the numbers, we looked at the dignities, the planetary aspects, the house placements, all of it. And based strictly on the uploaded data, we have a clear winner.
We do.
And a clear, well, let's call it a character-building week for someone else.
That's a polite way to say it.
Right. So for this week of July 6th to 12th, the sign holding the ultimate strongest outlook of the week is Leo.
It is undeniably Leo's time to shine right now.
They must be thrilled.
Oh, yeah. The cosmic architecture right now is basically building them a throne, and we will definitely get into the exact mechanics of why Jupiter is handing them the crown.
Meanwhile, on the flip side of the coin, facing the most challenging or weakest outlook this week is Aries.
Yeah, it's a tough one for Aries.
We're going to get into exactly why that is, but if you are an Aries, do not panic. Take a deep breath.
Please don't panic.
We have a very specific, actionable survival strategy for you. Now, I have to ask you, since, you are our calm, analytical voice of reason here,
I try to be.
the one who synthesizes all these moving parts into something we can actually use, if astrology is just a weather report, is this week a light drizzle or like a Category 5 hurricane?
That's the perfect question to start with, honestly. It's neither.
Neither.
Yeah, I mean, a hurricane implies massive, chaotic destruction that eventually passes, right?
Yeah.
And then it leaves you to rebuild exactly what was there before.
Okay, sure.
This week is not a passing storm. It is a tectonic shift.
A tectonic shift. Wow.
Yeah, it's what mundane astrologers, the people who study global cycles rather than individual birth charts, they're calling it a great reorientation.
A great reorientation. That's a big phrase.
It is. We are talking about the kind of astrological climate that draws a thick, permanent line in the sand.
Like a before and after.
Exactly. There is the pre-2026 era and the post-2026 reality.
Okay, we really need to unpack this. A tectonic shift. A great reorientation. That sounds incredibly dramatic, maybe even a little fatalistic.
I can see why you'd say that.
Like, what is actually happening up there to warrant that kind of sweeping language? Give us the why before the what.
Sure. Well, we have to start with the macro picture. The foundational architecture of this week, and really of this entire year.
Right.
It's defined by a very rare generational alignment called the barbalt basket, or sometimes referred to as a cradle configuration.
Okay.
And we are currently looking at Uranus in Gemini, Pluto in Aquarius, and Neptune in Aries.
Okay, let's define terms for a second before we get completely into the weeds here.
Good idea.
When we say an ephemeris or a technical alignment, we're essentially just talking about a giant mathematical spreadsheet of planetary coordinates, right? Like a
Right.
train schedule for rocks in space.
That is exactly what an ephemeris is. It's pure astronomy.
Yeah.
It tells us the exact degree and minute a planet occupies in the sky at any given moment.
Got it.
And right now, the ephemeris shows these three massive outer planets, Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, forming highly specific geometric angles to one another.
And these are the slow ones.
Right. These are the slow-moving planets. They don't deal in your daily moods or like what you're going to have for breakfast.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, they deal in global infrastructures, collective psychology, and generational paradigms.
Right, because Uranus takes, what, 84 years to orbit the sun?
Yeah.
Pluto takes 248 years.
Exactly.
And Neptune takes 165 years. So when they actually align in a specific pattern, it's not just a common Tuesday.
Not at all.
So Uranus in Gemini is about revolutionizing technology and communication. Pluto in Aquarius is about the raw power of the collective, right?
Yeah.
Like tearing down old societal structure.
Bearing them down to the studs, yes.
And then Neptune in Aries is this sort of spiritual, localized warrior energy.
Beautifully summarized.
Oh,
And they are all currently sitting right around the 4-degree mark of their respective signs.
okay.
So in astrological geometry, they are forming a symmetrical cradle. Uranus and Pluto are in a trine, which is a 120-degree angle of pure, flowing, frictionless energy.
Directionless.
Right. And the Uranus-Pluto trine alone is rebellious. It's revolutionary. It's looking for a new horizon to conquer with greater freedom.
Wow.
But because Neptune is sitting right at the midpoint, forming 60-degree sextiles to both of them, it acts as a synthesizer.
Like a bridge.
Exactly, as this deeply transpersonal, spiritually aligned flavor to the revolution.
Okay, I have to push back on the terminology here, though. A cradle sounds like, I don't know, a baby's bed. It sounds soft, nurturing, and safe. That does not track with Uranus, the planet of sudden, shocking rebellion, and Pluto, the literal mythological lord of the underworld, teaming up.
Right.
That sounds terrifying, not nurturing.
It's a great point. The term cradle refers strictly to the visual shape it makes on the circular birth chart. It looks like a half hexagon.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's not about being coddled. Think of it more like a structural cradle, like the massive steel chassis used to hold a rocket booster in place before launch.
Oh, okay, that makes so much more sense.
Right. It is a container for immense volatile energy. It represents massive global shifts in technology, resources, and consciousness being held in a stable geometric container so they don't just blow us all to pieces.
Okay, I love that analogy. It's a rocket chassis and not a bassinet.
Definitely not a bassinet.
So humanity is sitting in this structural container, revving its engines for a massive turning point. But, you know, it feels incredibly turbulent right now.
It does.
Where is the turbulence coming from if the outer planets are in this stable geometry?
Well, the shaking is coming from the inner planets, the fast-moving ones that govern our daily lives, and they're interacting with this massive outer structure.
Okay.
The first major event of this week, and the one that really sets the tone, happens on Tuesday, July 7th. Neptune stations retrograde in Aries.
Here is where it gets really interesting. Because Neptune is the planet of dreams, illusions, the subconscious fog, right?
Yes.
And it's stopping in the sky to move backward. Now, I read the source material, and they use this analogy about how navigating Neptune retrograde is like walking on the beach when the tide is out.
I saw that, yeah.
But I want to offer a different visual, because honestly, Aries doesn't do long walks on the beach. Aries is a warrior.
That's very true.
To me, Neptune retrograde in Aries feels more like when the city drains a massive reservoir to find a missing car.
Oh, wow. That is a much more visceral way to look at it, and highly accurate for the Aries energy. Yeah, when Neptune is direct, it's the water filling the reservoir. It smooths everything over. It looks pristine, reflective, and beautiful on the surface. But it hides whatever's down at the bottom.
Yes. And when it stations retrograde, the water is pumped out. The fog of fantasy lifts. You are left staring at the sludge, the rusted shopping carts, the sunken cars.
The debris.
Exactly. It exposes all the debris of your life that was hiding under the surface. But, and I think this is the crucial part of the reservoir analogy, once the water is gone, the ground underneath, while ugly, is solid.
Precisely. You can finally see the topography of your own psyche.
Wow.
When Neptune goes retrograde, the veil between our idealized fantasies and our stark reality thins out. We get a much clearer view of both our inner and outer landscapes, whether we actually like that view or not.
So it's a reality check?
It's a spiritual reset with teeth. Because Neptune is in Aries, which is the sign of the self, the initiator, the warrior, it forces us to look at the stark reality and ask, what is actually worth fighting for? Are we following a path that is true to our individual nature? Or are we just chasing a fantasy we've been culturally programmed to want?
Okay, so the reservoir is drained. We are staring at the rusted shopping carts of our lives. Then, just 2 days later, on Thursday, July 9th, the cosmic vibe shifts dramatically again.
It really does.
Venus, the planet of love, value, aesthetics, and money, moves out of fiery, dramatic Leo and enters earthy, meticulous Virgo.
If Neptune retrograde is draining the reservoir to show you the debris, Venus in Virgo is showing up with a hazmat suit, a trash bag, and a clipboard to actually clean it up.
Yes. It's like getting a new project manager. Venus in Leo was like, it was like a Vegas residency.
Oh, completely.
It was bright colors, overdoing things, indulging, tipping the bartender $100 just because you felt like it. It's performative and loud.
Very loud.
But now the Vegas trip is over. Venus in Virgo is the auditor coming in on Monday morning to look at your credit card statements.
It is the abrupt transition from performative love to practical love. We have to remember what Venus represents, right?
It's what we value.
Exactly. What we value and how we attract it. Virgo is a mutable earth sign ruled by Mercury. It is concerned with optimization, service, and purity.
Okay.
So when the planet of desire moves into the sign of optimization, love becomes an act of service. Venus in Virgo doesn't want grand, sweeping, poetic gestures.
No more serenades under the balcony.
No. It wants you to balance your checkbook, organize your shared workspace, and show you care by showing up on time and doing the actual work.
Wow. Okay.
It's about spreadsheets, routines, and physical wellness. It's bringing all that wild creative fire down to earth and making it functional.
So we have the drained reservoir, we have the project manager auditing our lives, and then, just to ensure we don't get too comfortable, the universe throws a massive wrench into the gears.
So of course it does.
Mercury is retrograde in Cancer,
Oh.
and it's not just moving backward, it's hurtling toward the sun.
Mercury retrograde is always a time of review. It's a literal optical illusion where the planet appears to move backward from our vantage point on Earth.
Right.
And that coincides with psychological and logistical reversals for us. But when it happens in Cancer, a water sign ruled by the fluctuating moon, it is deeply emotional.
Oh, boy.
It's messy, it's nostalgic, and sometimes painfully clingy. It stirs up old family dynamics and past resentments that you really thought you had buried.
Yikes.
We're talking about delays, miscommunications, and running into people you thought were firmly in your past.
You know, the sources had a lot to say about this, but let's frame it this way. Mercury retrograde is not just a cosmic glitch meant to annoy you.
Right.
It's more like when your computer forces a mandatory software update while you're in the middle of writing a crucial, time-sensitive email.
That is exactly how it feels. It's incredibly frustrating in the moment. It forces you to stop your forward momentum. It shuts down your current operating system.
Right. The screen goes black and you're just sitting there staring at your own reflection.
Yeah.
But, and this is the key, when the system finally reboots, the bugs are fixed and the computer actually runs better.
Precisely.
The retrograde is forcing you to process the background emotional data that was slowing your system down. And that forced reboot culminates on Sunday, July 12th, with a very specific astrological event called a cazimi.
The Sun-Mercury cazimi. This is a beautiful piece of ancient astrological mechanics. Cazimi is an Arabic term that translates to in the heart of the sun.
In the heart of the sun.
Yeah. When a planet gets too close to the sun, it is usually considered combust. Its energy is burned up and hidden by the sun's glare.
Okay.
But when it gets within 1 exact degree, right dead center in the heart of the sun, the dynamic completely flips.
It's like standing in the eye of the hurricane.
Exactly. Instead of being burned, the planet is illuminated and empowered by the sun's ultimate life force.
Wow.
All that babbling, emotional, retrograde confusion of Mercury and Cancer suddenly crystallizes into absolute, undeniable clarity. It's a massive eureka realization for every single sign.
A eureka moment.
Yes. It's the moment the software update finishes, the system reboots, And you finally understand why the delays happened and what you actually need to do next.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We've got the macro weather established. We've got the rocket chassis of the barbelt basket, the drained reservoir of Neptune retrograde, the meticulous auditor of Venus in Virgo, and the forced software update culminating in the Kazimi's Eureka moment.
It's a lot.
It's a ton. So let's get down to the micro. Let's do the comprehensive sign-by-sign survival guide, starting with our most challenged sign of the week, Aries.
Aries, as we announced at the top of the show, is facing the weakest outlook this week. And it is vital that you understand the mechanics of why this is happening so you don't internalize it as a personal failure.
Right. It's not your fault, Aries.
No, it's not. The week begins with the moon in Aries, making an exact conjunction with Saturn.
Okay, let's break that down for everyone. A conjunction means two planets are occupying the exact same degree of the zodiac, right?
Right.
They are blending their energies. But the moon represents our fluctuating emotions, our need for comfort, and our inner child.
Right.
Saturn is the planet of restriction, discipline, karma, and cold, hard boundaries. Moon conjunct Saturn sounds like wearing a lead vest while trying to swim.
It feels exactly like that. Saturn restricts whatever it touches. When it combines with the moon in Aries, a fire sign ruled by Mars that just wants to act, move, burn, and initiate, it creates a deeply heavy suppressive environment.
A pressure cooker.
It's a localized pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And on top of that conjunction, they're both forming a square aspect, which is a harsh 90-degree angle of friction to the sun in Cancer.
Okay, so a square is two forces fighting for the same space. So Aries is feeling this intense tug of war between their professional obligations, represented by Saturn, and their foundational home life, represented by the sun in Cancer.
Yes, unexpressed emotions are bubbling up fiercely.
Uh-oh.
If you are an Aries, you might feel like you are suppressing your core needs just to keep the peace, which is entirely unnatural for your sign.
Totally unnatural.
The psychological toll of suppressed anger for an Aries is massive. It usually manifests as exhaustion or physical tension.
And then on Tuesday the 7th, Neptune stations retrograde right in their sign. The reservoir drains. The filters are totally off for Aries right now.
The reality check is incredibly stark here. For Aries, this transit is exposing a hard truth about their self-perception or their current path.
What kind of truth?
Well, a project, a relationship, or a role that once thrilled them has quietly expired.
Oh, wow.
The life force is just gone from it. And because their ruling planet is Mars, their instinct is to fight, to force a resolution, to push harder against the wall.
Which brings me to my major pushback for the experts who wrote these reports.
Okay, let's hear it.
Aries is the warrior of the zodiac. They are the battering ram. How on earth do you tell a warrior to just sit still, not fight, and, quote, nurture their inner child? It goes against their entire biological and psychological makeup.
It does, which is exactly why it's so difficult for them. But true strategic resilience right now requires retreating to rebuild. If an Aries fights this week, they're fighting a losing battle against Saturn's concrete wall and Neptune's draining reality check. They will only deplete their own life force.
So what do they do?
The actionable advice for Aries is to seek inner sanctuary. They need to speak to themselves with parental patience. Acknowledge the frustration without guilt, but do not force major career pivots right now.
Okay, that makes sense.
In fact, the Economic Times specifically warns Aries to carefully check their digital banking and avoid risky financial investments.
So it's about holding the line, not advancing the line. It's tactical retreat. But, it's not all doom and gloom.
No, not at all.
Tuesday, July 7th is actually their luckiest day for self-reflection. And then on Wednesday, July 8th, there is a last quarter moon in Aries. Grazia actually calls this a career plot twist.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. It gives them the emotional leverage to stop making excuses, release an outdated goal, and take quiet, internal action.
Exactly. And as Venus moves into their 6th house of health and daily routines on Thursday, the relief comes through refining their physical habits.
Nice.
Protecting their physical energy, watching their digestion, managing eye strain. Aries needs to reframe this. Resting is a strategic maneuver, not a surrender.
I love that. Resting is a strategic maneuver. Okay, moving from the burning fire of Aries, let's look at how the exact same cosmic weather impacts a sign that actually prefers a slow, grounded pace.
Taurus.
Taurus is our first Earth sign, and they're experiencing a moderate to strong week. The cosmic weather is much kinder to our bulls.
It is. Taurus operates on a fundamentally different frequency than Aries. They're ruled by Venus, not Mars. They build, they don't burn.
Right.
So while Aries is struggling with the friction, Taurus is in a phase of financial and networking growth. The sources agree that whatever Taurus starts this week has an incredibly high probability of success.
That's great news.
It is. Networking, collaborative projects, establishing good relations with superiors, these are all highly favored right now. Overdue payments or multiple income sources might finally arrive to strengthen their bank balance.
And there's a massive Venusian shift for Taurus, because Venus is their ruling planet, right? The landlord of their astrological house.
Exactly.
When Venus moves into Virgo on Thursday, it enters a fellow Earth sign. This is highly synergistic for them. Their approach to love, relationships, and even their own self-worth becomes incredibly practical.
It's a very grounding energy for Taurus. Venus in Virgo wants to see the receipts. It demands reliability.
Show me the receipts.
Exactly. The advice here is for Taurus to move slowly in relationships. Let things develop naturally rather than forcing emotional decisions. They don't need grand theatrical declarations. They need someone who remembers how they take their coffee and shows up when they say they will.
Acts of service over words of affirmation. And this slow build leads perfectly into their luckiest day of the week, which is Saturday, July 11th. On Saturday, the moon aligns with Mars in Gemini. This happens in their second house of finances and values. The sources describe this as a cosmic upgrade.
It is a really potent activation.
Yeah.
The Moon-Mars conjunction blends emotional desire with the drive to conquer.
Okay.
For Taurus, this activates a fierce desire for abundance. While they're usually very deliberate and cautious, this Saturday asks them to be clear, focused, and aggressive about what they want to manifest.
Go get it.
If there was a new direction or a financial opportunity they've been eyeing, this is the day to take decisive action.
Health-wise for Taurus, the focus is on diet, keeping fit, and avoiding unnecessary stress. Keep it simple, practical, and earthy.
Very on brand for Taurus this week. Build the foundation, count the money, eat well.
Which brings us to Gemini. Taurus is steadily building, but Gemini is completely split down the middle right now.
Oh, Gemini.
They are a fascinating case study this week because we have a massive duality happening in their chart.
It's a true split screen experience for Gemini.
Screen, I like that.
Yeah, on one side of the screen, you have Mars, the planet of action, speed, and severance, transiting directly through their sign.
Okay.
Mars in the first house grants a clever edge, high physical motivation, and a real mental peak. Their communication is razor sharp.
They're on fire.
They are. Senior management is actively noticing their leadership and rapid problem-solving skills. They have incredibly strong potential for career advancement right now.
But on the other side of the screen, their ruling planet, Mercury, is retrograde in Cancer. And because Mercury is their ruler, they feel its retrograde cycle far more intensely than the rest of the zodiac.
Exactly. Mercury is moving backward through their second house of money and values. So while their physical body and their ambition are running at warp speed thanks to Mars, their mind and their logistical reality are just dragging through the mud. This brings scattered thoughts, mixed up schedules, the annoying reappearance of forgotten messages or old bills, and it can trigger deep, old fears of financial loss.
I'm struggling to see how someone can operate fast and slow simultaneously. It sounds like driving a sports car with the parking brake on.
That's exactly it.
Your engine is revving on jet fuel thanks to Mars, but your wheels are locked, and the friction is just creating smoke.
That is a brilliant analogy. The danger for Gemini this week is burning out their engine because they're fighting the parking brake instead of just releasing it.
So how do they release it?
The call to action for Gemini comes on their luckiest day, Saturday, July 11th, when the moon conjuncts Mars exactly in their sign. This is the moment to trust their own internal narrative.
Okay.
They must take action on their core beliefs and trust their own gut over the contradictory advice of others.
There is also a very specific, almost ominous relationship warning from the sources for Gemini, specifically highlighted by IDIVA.
Yes, I saw that.
They need to watch out for a third person trying to intervene or create misunderstandings in a relationship. With Mercury retrograde causing communication chaos, it's incredibly easy for someone else's projected drama to infect Gemini's partnerships. They need to be fiercely protective of their inner circle.
Absolutely. Defend the perimeter. And health and wealth-wise investments in learning new skills or upgrading professional tools will definitely pay off long-term.
Okay, good to know.
But they must prioritize sleep, hydration, and eye care to avoid mental overstimulation. The mind is trying to go faster than the physical body can sustain.
Pace yourselves, Geminis. Drink water, close your laptops.
Please do.
All right, let's shift from the airy speed of Gemini and wade into the deep feeling waters of Cancer. Cancer, this is your season. The sun is shining in your sign. But you have Mercury retrograde happening directly in your living room.
The impact here is deeply, profoundly personal. Cancer is already a sign that feels things intensely and has a natural inclination to hold on to the past.
Right, they are the archivists of the Zodiac.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With Mercury retrograding in their first house of self and identity, they may experience a severe lack of emotional clarity. Self-doubt can easily creep in.
Not fun.
No, they're revisiting old points of dispute with family or roommates, addressing domestic tensions they've been successfully avoiding for months.
I have to ask, isn't this dangerous for them? Cancer is so nostalgic. If Mercury retrograde is dragging up the past while sitting in their first house, aren't they just going to drown in it? Get totally stuck in the mud of old feelings and victimhood?
They absolutely could, if they let the retrograde dictate their reactions. But the astrology of this week provides a massive lifeboat.
Oh, good.
The goal isn't to drown in the past. It's to retrieve lost wisdom and then immediately swim to the surface. The sources call this a time for radical self-care.
Radical self-care.
They need to pay close attention to the defense mechanisms they rely on when they feel triggered, like shutting down or becoming passive-aggressive, and actively work on becoming more emotionally honest and direct.
And that lifeboat really arrives in spectacular fashion on Sunday, July 12th. The Sun-Mercury cazimi happens directly in Cancer. This is the eureka moment. The software update finishes.
It's a massive emotional and energetic reset. A cazimi in the first house acts as a solar reboot of the self.
Wow.
Suddenly, the fog of self-doubt vanishes. The sun's vitality burns away the retrograde confusion. They realize exactly how far they have come, and they become a literal cosmic channel for breakthroughs.
That sounds incredible.
It is. Trusting their gut feelings over their anxiety is crucial here. They will know exactly what to do.
And to prepare for that Sunday reboot, they need to clear some space. On Wednesday the 8th, with the last quarter moon, they are advised to let go of old career plans.
Right.
Why? Because the sources indicate expansive opportunities with international clients, high-level negotiations, or large-scale projects are coming. Long-term investments, especially in real estate, which rules the home, Cancer's favorite domain, look very promising. So don't hold on to a small, safe plan when a massive one is waiting to land.
Exactly. Cancer needs to clear the emotional and professional slate so they are an empty vessel ready for the cazimi's illumination.
Okay, let's cue the trumpets. Roll out the red carpet. Clear the stage. It is time for Leo, our ultimate, undisputed, strongest outlook of the week.
Leo is entering what we can only describe, in astrological terms, as main character mode.
I am so excited to unpack this. Why does Leo win the week so decisively when everyone else is dealing with retrogrades and reality checks?
It comes down to the king of the gods, Jupiter.
Okay.
Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system, and astrologically, it's the planet of expansion, luck, abundance, and philosophical growth. Whatever Jupiter touches, it magnifies.
It makes it huge.
Exactly. And Jupiter's just entered Leo for a 13-month transit.
Oh, wow. 13 months.
Yes. This is a massive generational energetic shift. Leos are suddenly radiating an undeniable confidence, courage, charisma, and heart-centered leadership. The universe is literally putting a spotlight on them.
People are just naturally responding more positively to their ideas. It's like they have a golden touch right now. The gravitational pull of their personality is at its absolute maximum.
They are magnetic.
But there is a catch, right? It's not just sitting on a throne eating peeled grapes.
No, because astrology always requires balance. On Thursday, Venus enters Virgo, which hits Leo's second house of wealth, personal resources, and values.
Ah, the Virgo project manager comes for the king.
Yes. Before Leo's grand, Jupiter-sized dreams can fully take flight, they must handle the administrative details.
Oh, logistics.
Right. The second house is the ledger. This is the grounding wire for all that Jupiterian electricity. They need to clean up their spending, avoid lending money to friends, absolutely avoid signing new joint venture agreements without reading the fine print, and physically organize their workspace.
Wow. Okay.
The universe is saying, I want to give you an empire, but you need to show me you can manage a spreadsheet first.
Handle the back-end work. Do not ignore the logistics. And Leo's luckiest day is Sunday, July 12th, during that Sun-Mercury cazimi. But this is interesting. This cazimi is happening in Cancer, which falls into Leo's 12th house.
This is a profound moment of epiphany for Leo. The 12th house is the deepest, most hidden part of the astrological chart.
The subconscious.
Right. It rules the subconscious, the things we hide from others, and the things we keep secret even from ourselves. It's the house of self-undoing.
Oof.
The cazimi acts like a high-powered searchlight sweeping through these hidden corners. It forces Leo to see and accept a truth they've been completely avoiding.
What kind of truth?
Usually it's a truth about what they actually desire versus what looks good to their audience.
The performance versus reality.
Exactly. Accepting this truth, honoring their authentic private needs, not just their curated public persona, that is the key to beginning this new, incredibly abundant 13-month Jupiter cycle.
Actionable advice for Leo to maximize this week. Do not revisit old conflicts in your relationships. Leave the past in the past. And absolutely trust your visualization powers. If you can see it in your mind's eye this week, Jupiter is standing by, ready to help you attract it into reality.
From the king to the prime minister. Let's move to Virgo. If Leo is ruling from the throne, Virgo was experiencing a week of incredible magnetic capability.
Venusian magnetism. On Thursday, July 9th, Venus enters Virgo. We talked about how this affects the collective, the meticulous auditor, but what does it do when the planet of beauty and value enters the first house of our detail-oriented friends?
It brings a massive wave of self-love, beauty, and internal harmony directly to them.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It really is. We know Virgos are notoriously hard on themselves. They are ruled by Mercury. Their minds are constantly analyzing, categorizing, and striving for an impossible perfection.
Right, the inner critic is usually holding the microphone.
Exactly. But when Venus enters their first house of self, it acts as a soothing, luxurious balm. It's time for Virgo to finally unplug the microphone of that inner critic.
Wow, what a relief.
They are glowing. They're feeling comfortable in their own skin, and this natural, relaxed confidence makes them incredibly attractive to new opportunities. Psychologically, it's known as the halo effect.
And career-wise, they are absolutely on fire. The sources point to strong potential for business growth. A new client proposal, a brilliant pitch, or successfully resolving a complex team challenge is going to earn them major praise from the higher-ups.
Definitely.
Their luckiest day is Saturday, July 11th, when the moon conjuncts Mars in Gemini, which sits right in their 10th house of ambition and public standing.
That Saturday alignment is really powerful for Virgo. The moon and Mars, blending in the 10th house, turns their natural diligence into fierce ambition.
Okay.
It pushes them to take a scary opportunity, to polish that pitch deck and to absolutely refuse to give up on their long-term dreams. They are realizing that their specific talents, their ability to optimize and fix things, are highly valuable commodities.
But wait, Virgos traditionally don't like being the center of attention. They prefer to be the indispensable person behind the scenes. Doesn't a 10th house activation push them uncomfortably into the spotlight?
It does, but Venus, in their first house, gives them the grace to handle it. They are being recognized for their competence, which is the exact kind of validation a Virgo actually craves.
Oh, that makes sense.
However, we do have to mention the retrograde warnings.
Right, the retrograde.
Because Mercury is their ruling planet, and it is retrograde, the sources strongly advise Virgo to hold off on planning big adventures or international travel until Mercury goes direct later in July.
Keep your feet on the ground. Financially, they must consult partners or financial advisors before making major monetary decisions. They shouldn't go rogue right now. They need a sounding board.
Yes.
Health-wise, stress management is non-negotiable. They need to prevent tension headaches and eye strain by avoiding excessive digital multitasking. Venus is asking them to be kind to their nervous system.
Speaking of the nervous system, let's talk about Libra. Libra's week is described by the sources as a massive, exhausting tug of war.
Virgo finds perfection in the details, but Libra is constantly trying to find perfection in the balance. And right now, the scales are tipping wildly.
Libra is being pulled violently in two very different directions.
Okay, tell me more.
On one hand, Jupiter in Leo is expanding their 11th house of friendships, social networks, and collective goals.
Fun.
Their social calendar is packed. Invitations are piling up, people desperately want them around, and their community influence is expanding rapidly.
That sounds like a Libra's absolute dream. So where's the tension coming from?
The tension comes from the 10th house of career and public reputation, where Mercury is currently retrograde in Cancer.
Oh, no.
Yeah, work matters feel incredibly urgent, but entirely unresolved. Decisions that should be straightforward are suddenly laden with complex emotional subtext. The communication with colleagues or clients is requiring far more patience and psychological maneuvering than usual.
So they desperately want to be out at the party, schmoozing and expanding their network, but their phone keeps buzzing with urgent, cryptic work emails that make absolutely no sense.
Exactly. It's a crisis of attention. The actionable advice here is vital. Do not force a major career decision this week.
Just wait.
Hold off on any definitive professional moves until Mercury stations direct on July 23rd. You just don't have all the information yet.
But they do get a major boost on Sunday, July 12th. This is their luckiest day. The Sun-Mercury cazimi beams directly across that chaotic 10th house career zone. The sources call this a reputation glow-up.
The cazimi provides the blinding clarity they've been missing all week. It drives them to revamp their public image.
Okay.
It's the perfect day to refresh their portfolios, update their professional bios, or have a candid boundary-setting talk with a mentor about claiming the success they actually deserve. It's about authentic branding. The cazimi burns away the imposter syndrome.
Financial and relationship advice for Libra this week. Cut unnecessary expenses and save wisely. And in love, choose understanding over arguments.
Always good advice for Libra.
Right. With Mercury retrograde, it's so easy to misinterpret a text and pick a fight. But Libra needs to actively preserve harmony to keep their nervous system intact.
Now we arrive at Scorpio. If Libra is trying to balance the scales on the surface, Scorpio is diving into the dark, uncharted waters underneath. Scorpio is having a deeply innovative week.
Creative leadership. Scorpio's ideas in marketing, content creation, or high-level business strategy are really impressing the seniors right now. They are seeing angles that everyone else is missing.
They are. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, so they excel at strategy and seeing the hidden mechanics of a situation.
Right.
But the deeper, more profound story for Scorpio this week is the lifting of the Neptune fog on Tuesday, July 7th. Neptune is stationing retrograde in their 6th house, which rules daily routines, health, and the mundane grind of work.
The reservoir grains in the 6th house. What does that reveal for Scorpio when the water is gone?
It reveals that Scorpio has completely stopped having fun.
Oh, wow.
They are so intensely focused on survival, on working, on maintaining control, that they realize they've completely lost their joy in the monotony of their own life.
That's sad.
The Neptune station gives them cosmic permission to break that self-imposed monotony. They need to find things they genuinely enjoy just for the sake of enjoyment. Watch a movie, finish a half-done hobby project, take a different route to work, and truly invest in their own happiness.
I have to push back a little on this, though. Scorpios are notoriously intense. They love the deep, the dark, the complex. Why do they care if they aren't having, quote-unquote, fun? Fun seems too light for a Scorpio.
Because the 6th house rules the physical body. When a Scorpio suppresses their need for release and joy, it manifests physically as burnout, adrenal fatigue, and illness.
Oh, I see.
The fog lifting is a health intervention. It's the universe saying if you don't find joy, your body will force you to stop. And this leads perfectly into their luckiest day, Sunday, July 12th. The cazimi happens in their 9th house of expansion, travel, and philosophy.
This is a profound placement. The Sun-Mercury alignment here brings what the sources describe as an epiphany that will forever change the course of their life.
It really is a game changer.
It's a long game realization about their true life path, maybe involving international travel, higher study, or publishing a piece of work.
But they have to actively create the space to hear it. The cazimi is a flash of lightning. If you aren't looking in the sky, you miss it.
Right.
The advice is to carve out quiet time on Sunday, completely without distractions, to listen to their intuition. No outside noise, no doom scrolling.
And practically speaking, Scorpio needs to avoid emotional spending this week. Health-wise, following that 6th house intervention, they need to watch their digestion and muscle tension. Avoid heavy, oily foods this week. Keep the physical vessel light so the energy can flow upward toward that massive Sunday epiphany.
Moving on to Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Scorpio goes deep into the psyche, but Sagittarius shoots their arrows straight for the stratosphere.
Oh, yeah.
With their ruling planet, Jupiter, now in Leo, Sagittarius is operating at what the sources call warp speed creativity.
The fire signs are really benefiting from Jupiter in Leo, and Sagittarius is feeling that surge of fellow fire energy. They are full of vibrant life force, brainstorming massive ideas, and their professional visibility is exceptionally high right now.
Their luckiest day is Thursday, July 9th, when Venus moves into Virgo. For Sagittarius, Virgo sits at the very top of their chart, the 10th house of career and public standing.
This brings immense success and tangible recognition. Venus entering the 10th house turns their inherent enthusiasm into actual compliments, awards, and tangible job offers. They have finally learned how to balance their wild, expansive sense of adventure with necessary, grounded practicality.
But there is friction. It's not a perfectly smooth flight.
Of course not.
Mercury retrograde is happening in Cancer, which is their 8th house of shared resources debts, inheritances, and deep psychological merging.
Okay, that sounds heavy.
It is. This warns of intense clashes over how they spend their days, who they give their energetic power to, and potential issues with shared finances. Like a partner's debt or a tax issue suddenly resurfacing.
The actionable advice here is crucial. They need to stick to a strict monthly budget to avoid unexpected eighth house expenses, and they need to physically organize their workspace.
Which brings up a contradiction, I'm sure.
Yes. Telling a Sagittarius to organize a workspace and stick to a strict budget sounds like trying to cage a wild horse.
Because
They despise restriction. They are the explorers of the Zodiac.
it does sound restrictive, but we have to reframe it for them. Organizing their space and tracking their finances isn't a cage, it's building a stable launch pad.
A stable launch pad.
If they don't handle the practical 8th house details, the taxes, the shared bills, the clutter, they're going to trip over their own mess when it's time to sprint toward those incredible 10th house career goals Venus is offering them.
Oh, I love that. A stable launch pad. It's logistics for the sake of freedom. Also, the sources note a very specific behavioral tweak for Sagittarius this week. Talk less and pay very close attention to the body language of your colleagues. Sagittarius is notoriously blunt. With Mercury retrograde, that bluntness will be misinterpreted as hostility. Read the room before you fire the arrow.
Now let's look at Capricorn. If Sagittarius expands outward, Capricorn builds upward. Capricorn is undergoing a complete transformation this week, particularly in their personal finances.
Financial metamorphosis. They are advised to ruthlessly let go of the old to cart out room for the new. Structured, long-term planning is highly favored over impulsive decisions right now. Capricorn loves a structure, so they're well equipped for this.
They are, but the real heavy emotional work for Capricorn this week isn't in their bank account, it's in their relationships.
Relationships.
Mercury retrograde is moving through Cancer, which is their 7th house of partnerships, marriage, and open enemies.
Relationship baggage alert. Old conversations, unresolved dynamics, and maybe even old partners are bubbling back to the surface.
Yes, and the advice here is profound. They need to treat these past mistakes or returning relational issues as a second draft rather than a failure.
Oh, second draft.
Capricorn naturally leans toward defensive logic. When they are criticized, they build a wall and cite the facts. But this transit requires emotional honesty, not a legal defense.
A second draft. That takes the pressure off so much. It's not a failure. It's just a revision of the manuscript. And their luckiest day is Saturday, July 11th. The Moon-Mars conjunction in Gemini highlights exactly where their daily routine no longer matches their long-term priorities.
The sources call this a restless signal. Gemini rules Capricorn's 6th house of health and daily labor.
Okay.
When the Moon and Mars meet there, Capricorn might feel a sudden, jarring spike of anxiety or a strong urge to just burn their schedule to the ground and start over.
Burn it all down.
The key is not to act impulsively on Saturday, but to use that uneasy, restless feeling as a diagnostic map. It shows them exactly which habits, boundaries, or systems need to be adjusted so their daily life actually supports the mountain they're trying to climb.
Okay. We are rounding out the zodiac with our final two signs. Capricorn builds the structure, but Aquarius designs the network. Let's talk about the water bearer.
Aquarius has a very unique, almost magical week ahead. It starts with their luckiest day right out of the gate, Tuesday, July 7th.
Rituals of abundance. The sources say all it takes for Aquarius on Tuesday is a conversation with the universe.
It sounds esoteric, which Aquarius usually approaches with a healthy dose of scientific skepticism, but it's really about absolute, unwavering belief.
Okay.
They don't need the perfect words or the right networking connections on Tuesday. They just need to ask within their heart, stand up for their bizarre, unique vision, and trust that fate will respond regardless of their logistical imperfections. It's a day where faith literally moves mountains for them.
And as Venus enters Virgo on Thursday, it hits their 8th house, their zone of intimacy and shared psychology. It's a time for deep, meaningful, perhaps uncomfortable conversations about what they actually need to feel safe with another human being.
Which can be hard for them.
Right. Aquarius loves humanity, but often struggles with one-on-one intimacy. This transit helps them bridge that gap.
Professionally, strong communication like writing detailed reports or delivering innovative presentations is going to seriously enhance their reputation this week. But the critical turning point is Sunday, July 12th, the Sun-Mercury Cazimi.
The work-life rewrite.
Exactly. The Cazimi happens in their 6th house of work and health. It brings a stark, undeniable realization. Work cannot become their entire
Big
identity.
harsh truth.
They're going to clearly spot toxic work situations or imbalanced dynamics with coworkers. The universe is demanding that they set healthy boundaries, advocate for what they actually need to function, and actively protect their energy with proper rest. They cannot save the world if their own battery is dead.
They can care about their brilliant work and still have an inspiring, fulfilling personal life. A much-needed reminder for Aquarius. Finally, we reach Pisces. Aquarius connects humanity, but Pisces dissolves the boundaries between us all.
Pisces is experiencing what the sources beautifully describe as welcome hibernation.
Which makes perfect mechanical sense because their modern ruling planet, Neptune, is the one stationing retrograde on Tuesday, July 7th.
For Pisces, who are basically psychic sponges absorbing the emotions of everyone around them, the non-stop onslaught of external energies finally slows down.
A break at last.
The retrograde drains the reservoir of collective anxiety they've been carrying. It offers them a profound period of relief. It's a time to hibernate, to repair family baggage from a place of calm, and to make conscious choices rather than just reacting to the emotional waves crashing over them.
And Thursday brings incredible Venusian harmony. Venus enters Virgo, which is Pisces' opposite sign, sitting right in their 7th house of partnerships.
It's lovely.
This brings beautiful, grounded balance and harmony directly to their closest relationships. The Virgo energy gives the Pisces dream a structure to hold on to.
It's a highly supportive energy for love and deep connection. But the crowning moment for Pisces is Sunday, July 12th.
Path confirmation. The Sun-Mercury Cazimi in Cancer falls in their 5th house of creativity, romance, and joy. It brings a sudden, beautiful awakening.
It confirms they are on the right path. Even if the last few months have felt chaotic or challenging, this Sunday brings deep internal validation.
That's wonderful.
It's time for them to fully embrace their romantic, creative spirit. The sources highly suggest revisiting a past creative project that was put on hold, a painting, a piece of writing, a musical endeavor. The retrograde brings it back, and the Cazimi illuminates how to finish it.
Actionable advice for Pisces this week. Resist impulse shopping, luxury spending, or speculative investments. You don't need to buy things to feel good right now. And actively distance yourself from unnecessary emotional conflicts. Conserve that precious energy for your creative awakening on Sunday.
If we pull back and look at the entire journey from Aries to Pisces, we see a profound, interconnected narrative.
We really do.
We move from the deep internal struggles and structural rebuilding of Aries through the practical cleanups of Virgo, the relationship revisions of Capricorn, all the way to the creative spiritual awakening of Pisces. It is a complete cycle of human experience contained within 7 days.
It really highlights that the stars offer a map, but we are the ones driving the car. The ephemeris doesn't force us to do anything. It just shows us where the traffic jams and the open highways are. We have to make the choices.
Exactly. The planets don't compel. They signify. They are the hands on a giant cosmic clock, telling us what time it is in our own psychological development.
And that brings up a really fascinating thought to leave you with. If the planets are just the hands on a clock, and this entire week is about the universe holding up a mirror, Neptune draining the reservoir to show us the bottom, the Cazimi illuminating our hidden truths, then we have to realize something fundamental about mirrors. A mirror doesn't move on its own. It only reflects what is standing in front of it.
That is a brilliant observation.
If you are waiting for the great reorientation to magically fix your life, you're going to be waiting a long time. The cosmic weather is providing the perfect lighting, but you are the mainspring of the clock. You have to make the first move. What happens to your life when you finally realize the mirror is just waiting for you? Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible visual deep dive today on the Cosmic Wire. We hope you feel armed, prepared, and ready for whatever the universe throws your way this week. Stay curious out there and keep looking up.